Okay, everyone, this is Katz from Yokoso News, yokosonews.com. Yokoso News is the online website to introduce Japanese culture in English so that you can understand Japan more. Today is September 13th, 2011, Tuesday night at 8:31 p.m. Japan Standard Time, live from Yokkaichi, Mie, Japan. Yokoso News is usually an online website to introduce Japanese culture, as you know, but since the March 11th earthquake, tsunami, and Fukushima nuclear crisis, I've been dedicating part of my life to give you the up-to-date information of what's going on, especially in North Japan, but today is the last weekly update. Then we're gonna have some summary and overview, and we are going to conclude the emergency live cast that I've been doing for half a year. All right.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.
All right. So before we go into the main section, even though today is the last night of the weekly emergency live cast, Yokoso News is not going to be closing. We still continue as the culture program. So here are the upcoming program. This is the preliminary dates. October 2nd, Japan Standard Time, Sunday. We have next episode of Ask Dr. Shinsaku, 3-year-old doctor. It's going to answer any of a question. But from the next episode, he's gonna start learning hiragana. So maybe I need to ask you to join on Skype and teach doctor how to read hiragana. So that's coming on Sunday, October 2nd, but it's preliminary schedule, so I don't know about that. And next, this is the end. Today is the end of the weekly emergency live cast, but we will come back as monthly until March next year. So October 11, Tuesday at 8 p.m., the time and date are subject to change, but I will come back as monthly live cast. Then on October 15th through 17th, in Osu, Nagoya, Japan, there will be Street Performance Festival. I'm still talking to the festival organizer, but you might remember our last year's live cast. The street performers from all over the in Osu area conduct some gorgeous street performance, and then I'm hoping to secure a location at the Osu Nagoya. I'm still talking to the people, and then I'm going to show you the excitement of these festival that you see. But time and date are still TBA, and I might not be able to do the live cast. I'm still talking to the people. So that's pretty much it. So, if you'd like to know more information about Yokoso News, please like us at Yokoso News on Facebook. And don't forget to follow us at Yokoso News on Twitter if you do any or all of them. Because even today is the last day of the weekly emergency update. If something emergency stuff happen, I will come back live or tweet or update on the Facebook to let you know what's going on. Alright, so without the further ado, let me introduce today's guest, Dan Traylor from Mie, Japan. He is, what was your title?
Well, I'm just Dan from Ise.
I know, but what was your title for Mie Lifestyle?
Mie Life, I'm the editor.
Okay.
I started it up with a couple other volunteers.
So founder, editor of
Sure.
Mie Life Magazine.
Yes.
So Mie Life Magazine is the cultural website, travel culture website like Yokoso News, but you guys are located in south of Mie. I'm located in north of Mie.
That's
If
right.
you like to know more about them, please go to mielifemagazine.com, and they have the Facebook and Twitter account as well. So please follow them and like them. Mie Life Magazine, and Dan is the guy who's running it. Awesome.
Yeah.
And I
All right.
love Ise. I love Ise. So today, because this is the half year past since the earthquake, and Dan had a question to me, and that he want to write to the Mie Life Magazine. So I'm going to actually take switch the role of me being interviewed. Then Dan is going to interview this session. So hey Liana, hi guys, good evening to all from Malaysia. Hello to Malaysia, Liana. So Dan, so first of all, would you introduce yourself?
Yes. So as he said, I'm Dan Traylor, and I live down in Ise in Mie. So not far from Katz, but a couple hours away.
It's only 1 hour away.
1 hour away on the train.
Yes.
We haven't met in person. We've emailed back and forth quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I teach English in a high school here in Ise. That's like my real job. But I've always been interested in journalism and very interested in Japan, of course. So I had the idea to start up a online bilingual magazine for Mie. It's a general interest cultural life magazine, and it's all volunteers. There's no money involved except my own $10 to get the website registered and all of that. And basically what we are trying to do is get people to be volunteer contributors to the magazine, writing articles, taking pictures, and putting that all together. And we're still looking for those volunteers. If anyone sees this live or on the archive who is in Mie, whether you're a foreign resident or Japanese, and you want to be involved, we need people to write, to take pictures, to translate, and all of that. So that's a bit about Mie Life. You can go check it out on the website, mielifemagazine.com. About me, very quickly, I came to Japan 4 years ago, right after graduating from university in Oregon in the United States. So,
Which I also came back to Japan in 2007. So yeah.
Right. You were there in California,
Yeah.
was it?
Yeah.
For like 8 years or more?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll get to a little more about that. So I think that might cover enough about me.
Well, since you and I are both in Mie, and then we really need to, we talked about it via email that we need to encourage people to get to know more about Mie. And
Yes.
we are not just boring countryside. We are the countryside that has a richness of the culture, nature, and everything. Although we had an unfortunate disaster in a typhoon disaster couple past week, but we still have a full richness of the culture and everything. So we should kick our butt and encourage people to come, and we should party sometime too. That's what I really want to do with Dan.
Right. So
Dan, I want to, you have some question about me with this 3/11 disaster coverage. So let's talk about it.
Sure. So like Kat said, he's gonna be the person interviewed today. He's usually the one asking the questions. So so I won't be offended if you jump in and ask some questions
Sure.
to me, or just bring up your own topic while we're doing
and also
this.
I need to pay attention to the social timeline.
Oh yeah.
as
So
well.
you can interrupt with any of that social timeline updates at any
For
time.
example, City Run, hello cats, hello. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll click over and take a look at that social
Sure.
timeline sometimes too. Okay. So I'll just see if I can
send you the URL that I just sent you a URL on the Skype that only shows up the social timeline.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So I guess before the March 11th disaster occurred, there was a Yokoso news. It had already begun. Can you tell me a little about what Yokoso News is just in general? I think maybe your viewers know basically, but a quick summary.
Okay, sure. The Yokoso News is the online website Yokoso means welcome in Japanese. So pretty much Yokoso News is the online website that I want to make people to come to Japan, or the information I want to provide, the information that people want to know how to come to Japan, basically. But so travel, study, or just living and work like you. So I want it to be the portal. But I have the filmmaking background, so and then with the rise of the social media, and also like this live streaming media, especially, I wanted to take advantage of this and my skill. So I want to emphasize on the YouTube and live streaming content. So that's the Yokoso News. That's the selling point of the Yokoso News is.
All right. Okay. So if we can go back to March 11th in the early afternoon, I think you mentioned to me in a previous conversation that you were home or in your office and you could feel kind of a very light but long sort of shaking.
Yes.
And that's when you knew maybe something was up. I had the same feeling. I was here in my living room and I felt like maybe I was sick. I got up and kind of realized the whole house is shaking.
Yeah.
So I turned on the TV and I think it was a studio in Sendai. It was just shaking like crazy. I kind of realized then we had something pretty serious. So
yes.
It sounds like you had a similar experience. Can you just tell me about the exact moment the disaster struck and your reaction to it?
Yes. It was. I was kind of working in my office, and then I was kind of tried to start working for the Japan Film Festival Los Angeles website. And also the previous week, I went to the business trip to Tokyo to try to meet up with some other English media website that I wanted to incorporate to make a business continuity partnership in case of the disaster week before. Then so I was trying to finalize that the plan. Then same thing. I felt weird. I didn't feel any. Here in Mie Prefecture, we are 300 miles away, which is about 500, 600 kilometers away from Fukushima, and 500 miles, which is about 700 to 800 kilometers away from the epicenter of the earthquake. So we did not feel any strong shock. So if you stood up, you wouldn't feel anything. Only if you were sitting or laying down, you would have felt it. So,
I was laying down.
So I was actually lucky to be able to catch the earthquake. Unless otherwise I wouldn't be able to react really quickly. Then same thing. I turned the TV on, and then I saw this NHK news too, because I knew the NHK is always the first broadcast everything. And then I saw the huge disaster, and then it was about 4 minutes after the earthquake. And then I have it right here. I have archive of my Twitter, and I tweet about the I've tweeted about I tweeted about 2:52 p.m. that tsunami is coming. Tsunami warning.
Very quick update.
Yeah, tsunami warning all Pacific Ocean side of Japan, and I realized I forgot the hashtag and everything. So, and then I need to add the hashtag, and then
again, that's forgivable in a moment.
Yeah,
a moment of a disaster.
Yeah, so this is then it was 7.9 earthquake, and then I realized I tried to tweet everything, like in the Twitter, like that, like, for example, I already knew that in case 20 minutes after the earthquake, I knew that please do not use cell phone in Japan unless life-threatening emergency. So I knew, within 20 minutes that this is the huge disaster, that all the emergent lifeline of the cell phone and telephone must be routed to the emergency crew. So nobody else can make a phone call, everybody in Japan. So, but these, and tsunami, we start getting the tsunami threat. So that's why in about 4:18 p.m. I start about 3:20 p.m. It's 40 minutes after the earthquake. I started a Ustream show. So
40 minutes.
Yeah, 40 minutes. So I first start tweeting 6 minutes after the earthquake happened, and then I started this emergency live cast in about 40 minutes after the earthquake happened. So yeah, hello Zenkichi-san, hello Katz, hello on the social timeline. Yeah, so after that, news kept coming on, and then I just kept going.
Right, that's kept going is probably an understatement. I heard about your live cast from someone. There's like an online forum for ALTs.
Okay.
Other English teachers here in Mie.
Okay.
And somebody had posted a link saying, like, hey, this guy's got the real information, because that was a few days or maybe a day into it, and people were starting to be concerned about the nuclear crisis.
Yeah.
Even friends of mine in Issei were starting to wonder, like, if they should go home, like, did they need to evacuate from here? Like,
yeah.
It was a time of really uncertainty for people living here and for families back home and for people across the world who are curious about Japan. No one knew quite how bad the situation is or who can be trusted. And I think a lot of people relied on your update, your interpretation of the news, and some commentary and sort of a mixing various sources together to try to get a real picture of what's going on, or at least a wider picture of what's going on. And do you see that role that you may have played?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as actually I posted the anniversary comment of the 9/11 onto the YouTube 2 days ago on the September 11.
I saw the short version.
Yes, but because I was in LA on the 9/11. And then I witnessed experience as a foreign people living in the foreign country, and disaster happens. And then I saw many foreign students left the U.S. and no Japanese students want to come to U.S. for a while after a year or two. So fortunately, I understood English, and then also fortunately, I lived in LA, and then LA has large population of Japanese, so they had weekly Japanese TV show, they had a Japanese weekly paper. So I was able to obtain enough information, both English and Japanese, and I felt it wasn't that safe. LA was the one of the most targeted area of the U.S. that time, but still, you didn't just have to go to Federal Building. You didn't just have to go take an airplane and then for next couple months. So I felt that I should continue my education in the U.S. and I did, and nothing happened to me. So, but when I came back to Japan, that's the reason why I also started at Yokoso News too. There are so many people who want to know about Japan, who loved Japan, but Japanese people themselves didn't really provide that information. So, and then also I experienced Hanshin earthquake as well, that I knew that in case of such a huge disaster, you just cannot start, you need the adequate training, you need the proper training to prevent or act against it. Then so with combination of these two incidents, and other smaller natural, not smaller, Katrina, and then in the U.S., and then other past earthquake happened in Niigata and everything. So I felt the desperate needs of the providing the right information to the foreign community in Japan. So yeah, so I kind of knew already that people is going to have a hard time getting the information and under the circumstances. So I knew it immediately that even though I'm in Mie, Japan, that I knew that foreign people, foreign community all over Japan needed this information. Then I knew that nobody else is capable of providing the information. So I was getting ready for, although, I wanted to incorporate it with other foreign media to work together, but I couldn't, finish talking to them. So it kind of happened at the premature stage, but I was ready to kind of providing, information as a platform, and that's the reason why I'm not in Tokyo. I didn't want to be in Tokyo. Although I kind of was almost going to move to Tokyo that time, but because Tokyo was damaged, and then some of the area of Tokyo got blacked out for 12 hours, so people couldn't even get the right information for 12 hours in Tokyo. So that's the reason why I was in Mie. I decided to station myself in the countryside, so that even Tokyo got collapsed, I was able to continue providing the information. Dan, that 4 out of 5 internet line got cut off between Japan and the U.S. during the crisis, and that only one line survived was coming out from Ise.
Wow.
so rest of the cable, fiber optic cables are coming out from Ibaraki, Chiba prefecture. So that's where the most shake were. So that's why all the fiber optic got cut off. But
wow.
actually, I was able to continue the Ustream. I learned that because I stationed myself in Mie, and I was living in closest point to the only one remaining fiber optic line between Japan and the U.S.
How about that? I had not heard anything.
So that's what the NHK, but NTT was able to fix the reroute everything, all the traffic to the West Coast, and also they fixed the situation, but quickly. But so I was but anyway, so
sure.
So I kind of knew that this thing, yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me a little about the nearly nonstop period in the beginning when things were just news was breaking every day, every few hours, so at such a rapid pace. There were new updates coming so frequently that you were live casting so often. I would come home from work and he's probably on now, and go check, and most of the time you're there. How long did that last?
I don't remember. I need to check out my archive. But for about first couple days, first week or first 2 weeks, I've been broadcasting over 12 hours a day. At least first 7 days for sure.
I think some of your viewers were getting worried, like asking, "Are you sleeping? Are you eating?"
Yeah, I am.
Of course you were.
Yeah. I mean, because I don't know if this was a training or not, but many people know me by now already. I like to do stupid stuff, so that's including overnight non-stop live streaming show and that kind of stuff that I've done in the past. So I myself was a long distance runner, even though I gained so much weight by now. But so I kind of knew how to pace myself to be able to keep running in a long time. And then also, again, I was preparing to go. I wasn't preparing to do long time, but I have been doing long hour of the live cast. Like, so first day of the March 11th, I did the live casting for 17 hours, but I already did live cast 17-hour live cast twice in the past. One was it wasn't Ustream live casting, it was a Toyota hearing. The U.S. Senate, the hearing of President of Toyota, Mr. Toyoda. Right. I was translating the hearing into Japanese.
Okay.
And then I started it like it was 12 o'clock at night here, and I continued to translate until 7, 8 a.m. in the morning. And something like that. So that day I worked like 34 hours, in addition to regular work, I translated. Then because I thought that people wanted to know about the hearing, how hearing went to the people of Japan. And you could watch the C-SPAN, online, which is the political channel of the U.S., but people don't understand Japanese, so I did it that one. And then Apple keynote speech. They usually start like 2 a.m. in the morning in Japan Standard Time, and sometimes help to translate to Japanese before. So that if the Apple keynote speech happen, they start like 12 o'clock. So after I finish my regular work, I sit down and help translate to Japanese and live cast. I did it once as well. So I did these practice before. So I knew how to pace myself in case of the long hour of the live cast.
I see.
Yeah.
All right. And eventually it switched to a weekly disaster update. Yep. And that's what's been going on for several months now.
Yep.
Yeah. So for the weekly cast, Did you have any process, or how did you put together the information? What sources do you use to collect the information?
Mainly from the website and news, NHK and regular TV station, and then online media, independent journalists. I put them together. So
Nice.
because I'm fluent in, so this is what happened to me during 9/11 too. If you could speak English, you had access to entire collection of the information when 9/11 happened. Time magazine was showing the detailed structure of the Twin Tower, how it collapsed, but if you were in Japan, if you only were able to speak Japanese, you wouldn't get to know those information. So same thing. I actually just try to help translate what other Japanese people know. So nothing special. Actually, I'm just providing what all Japanese people know in general because they can speak Japanese and they listen to Japanese media.
Kind of a synthesis of the Japanese media just made into an English update for the audience here in Japan and around the world.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then social media is a big aspect of Yokoso News. And the social timeline that's going on right now with the stream and with all of the updates you do, people can sort of participate, make a comment. Where are those people located? I mean, someone earlier said hello from, where was that? Someone said hello from Malaysia.
Yes, Liana.
Someone just said hello from Maine. So hello to everyone who's watching now or later on the video.
Yeah.
But do you have a way to keep track of your audience?
No.
Where people are tuning in?
No. Nah. So that because I was too busy. So now I need to take a break from weekly live cast. So
Sure.
so that I can start the newsletter. I don't know. I need to sit down.
Figure out something.
Yeah. RDYHRM. Hey guys, hey again from Maine. Good to see you still there. Yes, I will be here. Only the last time of the weekly live cast, but I will be here. Cityland, Chicago there, yes. All over the world. I know, so.
Right. So I guess while that's come up, this is the last weekly disaster update you're planning. You're going to maybe go to a monthly schedule.
Yes.
You'll talk about. I think you may be planning to talk about this later on.
Yeah.
So I won't cover too much. But I think, as always, anyone watching probably knows they can follow you on Facebook or Twitter and get just quick updates of the news. Or if a decent-sized earthquake strikes somewhere in Japan, I've noticed you're quick to throw out a message if you're available to do that. And usually the update is 5 something earthquake in somewhere in Japan, no damage. Just people might see the news of an earthquake and be worried, but that update kind of keeps people informed. It's just a kind of moderate earthquake.
Yes.
You're still here with Twitter updates, Facebook updates.
Yes, I will be. I mean, I will be taking more meetings.
Sure.
I will be taking more meetings, going outside and everything. So I won't be able to monitor the real-time earthquake update and everything. But when I'm here in my office. Or if people felt something when they were in Japan, they could tweet me, so I can turn into Japanese information reply back to you. So so I will be here, and then some of my Sarah, Akim, and other viewer have my cell phone number, so they can call me and wake me up. I already asked them to do so. So
if anything big goes down, you're ready to jump on the air.
Someone already has the Twitter account access. I already let other two have
the shadow Yokoso News ready.
No shadow. I mean, they come up in the front, but
okay.
But
I understand. Okay, so this is a little off the main topic. I mentioned it in the email interview, in an email questions I sent before. But just looking at the studio you're in now, when you do these live casts, it looks kind of impressive to me, just from an outsider standpoint. All of the monitors So many screens, computers, TVs on. You've got all kinds of things going on, monitoring the social timeline, your own video. Here's a shot of it. Can you tell us a little about the equipment you're using, what it's usually used for?
Well, I have a 4 Mac here. One is old G5, like 5 years ago, that I'm mainly using for sound editing that I do for the independent film. But I'm not really doing it much because of the Yokoso News. And then that one is also connected to the digital TV, which has, because it has a HDMI cable. And then I have one MacBook Pro to do this live casting, the video editing MacBook Pro, and then in the center is the just the office work. Oh shit! Oh my god!
Everything okay?
Yeah. So the center one is the my office MacBook Pro, and then the right MacBook Pro is the oldest MacBook Pro. I'm mainly using to monitor my server and also real-time earthquake map. So it shows the almost couple seconds late earthquake status. Actually, there's a link on the yokosunews.tv that you can go.
Okay. So I follow the Twitter account that gives the immediate update when there's an earthquake.
Yes.
It's in Japanese, of course.
Yeah.
I'm learning prefecture names in kanji very well thanks to that.
Yeah. So so I just and I thought that I was thinking, maybe 2 display. Then I bought one more, and then when I bought the 3 display, maybe many people have 3 display. Maybe I should buy 4. So that's really how I ask people my friends on the Twitter, hey, should I buy one more? And then he said, yeah, go ahead. So that's kind of I bought 4. So, but mainly because I have it because I used to be a film product. I used to be full-time film production company, and I used to produce film. So I needed to have more monitor to check out the movie and the editing timeline and everything. So that's yeah. So originally a film studio here. So
if we can jump back briefly to your time in the States, 8 years roughly, and
8 years.
You spent that time studying and working things, especially on film, independent film.
Yes.
In the media a little bit.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little about your time in the States? And this is relevant to the disaster update, how you already mentioned experiencing 9/11 there and the information, and we've heard about that connection. But how about just your time there in general?
Well, I mean, so I couldn't speak any English before.
When did you first go?
99.
99.
Yeah. And I couldn't speak any English at all. So I didn't understand any. I mean, you sometimes can tell I don't really speak perfect English. So that's my excuse if I make some mistake. But but I was able to learn the different culture, and not only learning just American culture. I was there as a foreign student, so I was able to meet people from all over the world. Like, I now love Thai food. I know I love Korean food. I mean, in Japan now there are so many Korean food, but 10 years ago there weren't so many. And then, then Chinese food, like Chinatown. We didn't have that in my area. There's one in Tokyo, Yokohama, and Kobe, but not here. So I was able to witness. And then also I made so many Persian friends, friends from Middle East. It was true that they are rich. So, before 9/11, and then after 9/11, there were less Arabic students. But I was able to encounter different culture from all over the world because I was in LA and I was going to the university in LA in the US. So that was the most precious moment, and that's how I was able to learn the difference of the culture. And then we need to open up. I realized that Japan needs to open up more, and they don't have to be so shy to speak out in English. They already know so much English, but they're too shy to speak out. So so I kind of wanted to represent that it's not too difficult, just do it, kind of stuff. But I was able to learn that when I was in the U.S. So that was most memorable. And then I also remember that some of my film schoolmates brought out Japanese movie DVD, and hey, you are in Hollywood learning the filmmaking in LA, and why did you I came from Japan, and it was so funny. But at the same time, then I realized that my film school mates also love Japan as well. Some of my film schoolmates came to Japan and stuff too. So I realized the diversity of the culture, and also how Japan are kind of being respected from the rest of the world as well, even though I kind of thought Japan sucked at the beginning when I was at high school. So that's the kind of reason Japanese film industry sucked at the beginning. So that's kind of why I kind of decided to come to US to study, but it wasn't after all. So.
Okay, so you studied film production, filmmaking.
Yep.
And when school was finished, you did some work on some movies,
Yes.
independent films?
Yes, but not that famous, so I kind of don't want to...
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I shouldn't mention... I mean, those are not famous. I mean, I didn't...
It's just your experience was working.
Yeah. I mean, I was
all
working...
kinds of aspects of production.
I kind of did some principal staff, production staff role, but it's not that like I was director or anything. So the highest position was associate producer of a feature film. So that
I see.
Yeah, that wasn't much. But I was I learned a publishing industry, media industry. I work because I had to do a part-time other job to pay my bill for like a year, and then I learned like how the American media embraced the social media and then changed. Then Japan is kind of a year behind. So if I started it this way, I'm kind of ahead of everybody else in Japan. So that's so I was able to. So that's kind of stuff that I learned. Yeah.
Okay, and you came back to Japan in 2007, same year I arrived here.
Yeah.
And then kind of started to work towards setting up Yokoso News. So we're kind of getting back to the present.
Yep.
A short history of your time in the States, but that's fine for our purposes today. So I guess I think people can find this information elsewhere in greater detail, but briefly, how did Yokoso News get started? You mentioned what it was, the purpose in the beginning, but where did the idea come from? I think it's very connected to social media and trying to introduce some aspects of social media that started to become popular in the States, but maybe are lagging behind in Japan, or
yes.
you take that.
Yeah, so when I came back to Japan, I needed to start some project because to kind of pay my bill and then find what first 1 year because I learned how to build the website myself too. So I kind of helped build the website to other people and to kind of pay my bill and incorporated my company, and then incorporated my company in Japan and then US. Then try to come up with some idea. Then the September of 2008, I saw the news that Japanese government is going to launch the interagency called, Japan Tourism Agency. That, so then I heard that Japanese government really want to take the tourism seriously. Then they want to have more foreign tourists coming in, and then I thought that so I, with my experience of the social media, experience of the film production, and me being able to speak English and Japanese, I thought that I could do stuff. Then that's how I came up with the idea of Yokoso News in late 2008. And then, but it kind of took me a while to develop mainly a software and then some technical stuff for over a year. Then that 1 year, I pretty much kept developing a software for the Yokoso News, and then I launched it last April.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last April in 2010, not 2011. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I think today we're looking at just over 6 months from the March 11th disaster, and you've been very intensely covering it for Yokoso News. So you've been reading all the articles you have time to read, summarizing those for the viewers. Have you had time to think about it overall and make any sort of assessment of the response?
No,
process, the government response, anything like that?
Not really, because I think previous time only the mass media was capable of telling the information to the rest of the world. And you saw, because of paper has limited amount of the space, and the TV show only has a limited amount of the channel that only be able to broadcast a limited amount of the time. But these internet media, social media has more freedom to spread the information. So I think and Twitter, already when I saw the Hudson River miracle on the Twitter news, that Twitter now became faster than CNN breaking news, then which is I provide the information much faster than CNN breaking news during the when I was doing the everyday live cast. So because we have this kind of the tool, and also I thought that you still need the adequate training to get the right information, to judge whether this is the right information or not, because after a couple days, within a couple days since the disaster happened, there were some false information, some bad rumors spreading around the Twitter society, Twitter timeline. But actually, after a couple days, people start responding that those are the false information. Then Twitter community itself sees down the fire by itself. So for me, then I know myself that I'm not capable, I'm not professional, I'm not trained journalist. So I cannot be responsible for the opinion that I'm going to make myself. And quoting the article is legal, and then they and quoting from the professional journalists, professional like government agency or press releases, they are trained professional about the nuclear, especially the first months of the disaster. I knew nothing about nuclear power plant, so I couldn't be responsible. So that's why I try to stay away from my own opinion, then try to introduce as much diversity of the information, so that the people, then if people have time, people can make a judgment, and then people can access to enough information that so this is from the experience of the 9/11 as well.
What do you think of the response of the Japanese mainstream media to the disaster? Do you think that it's a trustworthy source in general, or do you think they're too unwilling to be controversial? Or
you know what? If I tell you my opinion about this, they did. I mean, I told you that I didn't know anything about nuclear energy, nuclear power plant when the disaster happened. So I didn't want to take a responsibility. So I just forwarded the information to other professional media, and I think other professional Japanese journalists didn't know like what to do either under the circumstances.
That's
so
reasonable.
many panic.
Very extraordinary situation.
And in addition to 20,000 casualties, then there is Fukushima nuclear crisis that they need to cover. And all the reporter, when you watch the earlier coverage of the Yokosu News, that I've been translating the press conference from TEPCO. But they are the reporter there 24/7 as well to report the TEPCO press conferences. So and then Ima, one of our volunteers who helped me, and fortunately she was a professional translator, also has worked in the nuclear field. So we had a great expert to advise us what's really happening. But some of the journalists who without the nuclear knowledge had to go to the TEPCO press conference because they didn't have enough people covering.
That's their job. Event. Yeah, they have to. So their boss says go to the.
Yeah. So too short. They didn't know what they're doing, but they were doing their best.
Sure, I think it was a very unusual time. Lots of conflicting information and difficult to understand information.
Yeah. So yes, if it is our responsibility that we didn't say anything about the danger of the nuclear energy, we should criticize about TEPCO too. But on the other hand, TEPCO workers were like already third generation of the nuclear energy. Like they started the nuclear industry like 1960 something. So TEPCO employees were also kind of believed in themselves too much and stuff too. Then they weren't prepared. They were too self-confident, which we were. I mean, last 50 years we didn't have any. We had a few accidents, but we didn't have major accidents. So they kind of became self-confident and stuff, which we kind of should criticize. But at the same time, we are all human, and I make mistake myself too. But then But TEPCO themselves should take a responsibility. So that's another debate. So my conclusion is that they did their best, and they had to do their best under these circumstances, but they didn't know what they're doing. And I didn't know what they're doing either. So that's the reason why, I kept saying that phrase during my disaster update.
Sure.
Yeah. And then same thing happens too. Like when I saw foreign news. I was able to take a glance at the CNN news or Al Jazeera news for the first couple of days. They only were able to use NHK sources or Kyodo sources. They didn't have anybody else on site the first 3 days.
Yeah, I think that very sort of narrow sourcing and then a kind of lack of understanding about what was happening led to a lot of like scary headlines in the foreign media.
Yeah, so
I think
I kind of lost they lost my trust in a way. I wouldn't
especially
say
in the beginning. I think
Yeah.
we probably agree that their performance was not great.
Yeah. But I'm not going to. I don't want to criticize them too much, because Japan economy is getting weaker and weaker, and they had to prioritize more to China, so they had to cut the budget of the Tokyo office. So because I work in media, so I know the business and budget. So that's only what they could do. So that's why I'm saying that you should believe in, my phrase is, you should trust in Japanese people as much as you trust in the people in your country, same degree, same media, government, because under these circumstances, you trust but verify. So,
all right. Well, we can go off a serious topic. So, another question is, you often discuss curry. The hashtag Cats Curry appears on Twitter quite a lot. How often do you eat some form of curry in a week?
At least once a week.
Once a week.
Yeah,
Okay.
at least.
I'd like to get on that diet if I could.
Oh, you don't want to get too addicted.
Yeah.
I know. Unless you want to live in Japan forever, go ahead. But if you had to go back to the U.S., you're gonna be starving. I couldn't really leave the city where the Japanese restaurant is because of that addiction. So.
I understand. Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, but the secret mission of Yoko Sunish, right?
Why don't you remind me and the viewer?
Okay. Yeah. Well, Yoko Sunish's secret mission is to brainwash the people all over the world with curry.
Curry brainwashing.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that somewhere too.
Japanese curry brainwashing. Yeah,
I think maybe myself and a lot of the viewers, or even in the really serious times right after the disaster, there's a little room for goofing around and joking around and trying to lighten the atmosphere a little bit, and I think that's always nice. Original
concept of the Yokoso News is it's entertainment. We are entertainment media, so. But I kind of tweeted a bad joke on the April Fool, so oops. Then I kind of I now have a little bit more reputation. I cannot do more crazy stuff. But
have to be careful.
Yeah, unfortunately. But Dan, you should do some crazy stuff together, man.
Yeah, let's. We were talking off the air about some possible things down the road. So let's. We'll keep people posted if anything comes up.
Yes.
Any collaboration with Mie Life Magazine and Yokoso News.
Yes.
I look forward to watching the monthly disaster updates and the regular programming too. He already told us about things that are coming up, so I'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah, cool.
I guess we're coming up on an hour since we started talking. Do you have any final comments? Or?
You don't have any question?
I think I'm okay for questions for now. So
okay. So nothing much. Just thank you very much for clearing up. It's good to be interviewed sometime, so that I can. Because I've been interviewing people often.
Sure.
And I really wanted to, I really wanted to know how other people think about Yokoso News on the other hand too.
Sure.
No question with the on the social timeline, then I might going to finish this segment of the show. Dan, one more time, would you promote who? Would you introduce who you are, what you do, and what is Mie Life Magazine is?
Yes. So let me take a look. So Mie Life. I don't know if this works, but share.
Yeah, screen share.
Screen share.
Yeah, it works.
I think this is a look at Mie Life, and look at the Skype window too. This is the Japanese version. So it's a bilingual magazine. So far, we've had articles written only in English, and then we have a volunteer translator who translates them into Japanese. So it's the English front looks just like the Japanese front, and we do have a couple. Well, here's a beer festival article. Someone wrote about hiking in Mie. A couple of Mie ALTs, English teachers, went up to Tohoku to volunteer. This is my own article, but I interviewed them and wrote about their experience. And so that's the kind of article. It's all kinds of things, including we even have some artwork people have submitted. The biggest challenge is finding people to contribute. I think you know about that with Yoko-san.
Yes.
And I'm trying to.
Oh, you went to Chiyozaki Beach?
This isn't me. This is a contributor named Phil Gray, who used to be an ALT in Suzuka.
Okay.
And he gave us permission to use 3 of his pieces of artwork, which we're showing here.
Because I went to film sunrise of the New Year Day this year at the Chiyozaki Beach.
I see.
So
we have people can submit photographs. We're looking for people to propose article ideas, and we're looking to include Japanese people as well. We're trying to get more Japanese people involved in writing or photography or translation. So it's a very slow process. It's a volunteer operation, so we don't have any day of the month where all the new updates come, but more so when we get something new ready, we'll put it out there, and then we'll promote it on our Twitter account and on Facebook. And you can just come check the website out once in a while if you're interested. Obviously, the target is Mie residents or visitors to Mie, but anyone out there who's curious about this part of Japan, please take a look. And
cool.
Japan is safe. Just if you're scared of radiation, just don't go near the plant, and you're fine.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think that's a message that Mie Life and Yoko News share, and the Japan Tourism Agency as well, is that Japan is safe to visit. So I encourage people.
Well, I mean, I'm going to explain, like, for example, if you come to LA, there is some Los Angeles, California. There are some dangerous area that you shouldn't go.
Right.
And there's some safe area in LA you should go. Same thing. Japan is not as large as the United States. But still, relatively large. And we did have a actually, I'm going to tell you the story from the I went to meet with the Japanese senator, and she is the one of the project team of the Fukushima damage payment project team or something. Those politicians have so much complicated name that I need to translate and stuff. But anyway, according to, she studied Chernobyl and then case of the Fukushima and data and stuff too. But what they come up with that we were lucky. The wind direction were lucky. So if the wind didn't blow to the ocean, it could have been serious. So, of course, we should have known, but because of the simulation data that we found, and it should, there are some dangerous situations happening in Fukushima. Of course, there is no complete safe sign yet, because we might have the possibility that some of the reactor reached a critical point yet, but still the possibility is getting lower, and then all the reading that we get are same or the not safe, but so around the Fukushima nuclear power plant is dangerous, but where we are, Mie, it's safe because of the reading that we get. So that's Tokyo, it's relatively safe. Although we had a tap water problem, but according to all the reading from the scientific data, water can now be drinkable, and then yes, one of the problem is that water can be running down, water keeps moving, but not the land. So that's why the Fukushima area is having a hard time, because some of the radiation still remain on the soil. But in Tokyo, because the water washed out all the little radiation onto the ocean and then onto the drinking water and everything. So that's why it radiation went up a little bit. But after that, most of the radiation kind of got washed away. And so that's why it's getting safer. But we still should pay attention to the reading. But now, as of today, right now, I don't see any life-threatening bad stuff. So of course, nothing is absolutely safe. Nowhere is absolutely safe. Plane crash sometime. Yeah. When you drive a car,
risk.
You may have a car accident. But
I think we don't want to understate the scale of this disaster.
Yeah.
The recovery of the earthquake and tsunami damage continues, and the effort to contain the nuclear accident continues, and we need to stay very close, pay very close attention to the updates, and pay attention to our food supply, the local food supply in Japan. Yeah. Make sure that testing of all those products is going on in the affected areas.
Yes.
So we're not just listening to the government tell us everything's fine, but we have to be vigilant. We have to be.
Yes. So there are some meat contamination that's already on the market, but according that they were hiding. But as long as the amount, even people consumed the amount, it shouldn't be, according to the scientists, according to the experts, it shouldn't be the amount that it shouldn't hurt the health. But the problem is we don't really know what's harmful level of the radiation yet. This is we from the lesson that we learned from the Chernobyl and everything. But so it's that's why in the mass media you need to simplify, but in the social media we have more time that we don't have to simplify much. So but of course, most of Japan is safe. Like 90% of Japan is safe as of today. So that's confirmed.
That's a good point. Yes.
I mean, you cannot go climb Mount Fuji in winter. That's too dangerous. You cannot go climb the winter mountain in Japan. Also, maybe the 80%. It comes down to 80% of Japan when it comes to the winter. So, and you shouldn't go swim in the ocean in the winter because you're gonna freeze to death.
Yeah.
So 70% of Japan is safe. Well, anyway,
right.
We could say that. So, cool. So Dan, thank you very much for taking your time, and
sure.
Then we will hook up sometime.
Yeah.
Yep.
we'll investigate some more of the natural beauty of Mie
Yeah.
sometime, and we'll tell everyone about it over the Twitter or the Ustream. Or the...
Yes, sounds good. All right,
Okay.
Thank you very
again.
much, Dan Traylor from Ise, Mie, Japan. He is from Mie Life Magazine. Mie Life Magazine is the culture website to introduce Japanese culture. I mean, especially in Mie Prefecture and Ise Prefecture. Ise is very famous for the supposedly the oldest shrine of Japan. The origin
Actually,
of
on this
Japan.
shirt, this is Ise City.
Yes.
So,
Cool. Then, if you like to know more about the Dan Traylor, please Dan Traylor, right? Yeah. So
Traylor.
Traylor.
Yeah, it's
Taylor. Okay.
Taylor with an extra R in there. So it's
Okay.
Trailer.
Trailer. A trailer?
Yeah.
Oh shoot! Did I misspell your name?
I didn't even notice if it's misspelled on there.
Shishkaba. Okay, hold on. Trailer. So I misspell your name.
Well, where's the name? I can't see it.
It's coming up in a 10 second or something.
Oh yeah, there should be an R.
Oh.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
I wasn't really looking at that screen much, so I didn't notice that.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I actually ran the spell check. Oh, did I put R by mistake when I copy and paste?
With no R is a very common last name.
Yes,
but
yes.
with an R it's unusual, so it's understandable.
Okay. Anyway, Dan Traylor from oh my god, I need to fix it on YouTube update. But Dan Traylor from MieLifeMagazine.com. So please like them at the Yokoso News. Please like them on Facebook, Mie Life Magazine, and follow them, MieLifeMagazine.com. And Dan and I, probably Yoko's News, may do some more collaboration in the future. That's going to be some fun. So, Dan, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
All right. So, I think you may disconnect now.
Right. I will hang up the call. So, thanks.
All right.
Everyone. Have a good evening.
All right. Thank you.
Or morning you are. Goodbye.
Okay. Bye. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. It has been Dan from Mie Life Magazine. All right, everyone. This is Katz from Yokoso News, yokosonews.com. Yokoso News is the online website to introduce Japan in English so that you can understand Japan more. Yokoso News is usually the online website to introduce Japanese culture in English, but since the March 11th disaster, earthquake, tsunami, and Fukushima nuclear crisis, I've been dedicating part of my time to tell you the latest update of what's going on. However, since this is the we passed the half-year anniversary of the March 11th, it is September 13th, and then I need to move on simply because I'm kind of running out of cash that I need to ask for more sponsor and stuff. But if I keep doing this disaster update, I couldn't go out and meet people, and I already lost a couple sponsors. So even though I know there is a demand, everyone, that they want me to keep doing this weekly update, but unfortunately I don't want to run out of fund and then shut down the Yokoso News altogether. So actually I almost had to shut down Yokoso News a couple weeks ago, but I got some sponsorship, so it kind of saved me, the Yokoso News, for a year. But anyway, so So that's the reason why I need to end weekly live cast of the disaster update. But Yokoso News itself isn't over. Next live cast, it's maybe going to be October 2nd. Dr. Shinsaku is coming up, and then weekly live cast will turn into monthly live cast to give you the detailed update. But I will, if something emergency happen, I will make sure that I will tweet, I will post on the Facebook, or I might even start the emergency live cast. And then in the later, this October 15th, 16th, 17th, there will be Osu Street Performance Festival in Nagoya, Japan. You might remember some of our early live cast. These are the picture taken by Akin. These are street performers festivals with some Oiran geisha parade and everything. I'm trying to secure the location of the festival, so I might do live cast on site for about 1 hour like this. So I will be continue to do this, so please make sure to check us out and have fun. Tell your friends about Yokoso News, and more people watch, more more viewership, and then blah blah blah. I might become happy because of that. Some of you know why, but I don't want to make money to do emergency live cast. So I needed to do something else, which I think I can make a living, which the fundamental project of the Yokoso News. Hey, Annette, thank you. Hi, Kaz, have a great day, and thank you for doing this hard work. Thank you, Annette. So that's pretty much it. So make sure, if you haven't done so, please don't forget to like us at Yokoso News on Facebook, or follow us at Yokoso News on Twitter. And when some small update happens, some fun stuff about Japan happens, I will make sure I will tweet or post it on the wall on the Yokoso News Facebook or Twitter account. Alright, so let's do give you the briefly of what's going on Yokoso News weekly update. So as I mentioned, it has been the fundamental core mission of Yokoso News that to provide the English information that people wants to know about Japan, especially for the people who live in Japan. Yokoso News Emergency Livecast has two priorities. One priority is the people who live in Japan but don't really speak much Japanese, and they, in case of the crisis, I know other time people should learn Japanese, because they're in Japan. If they are living in Japan, studying in Japan, working in Japan, maybe they should study Japanese a little bit. That's why I'm gonna do Dr. Shinsaku livecast to help you learn hiragana. But in case of the crisis, it doesn't work that way. It's about life-threatening. It could be a life-threatening risk, and then right information is very critical. So Yokoso News knew that. So in case of the disaster, I'm going to turn into a emergency broadcast like this, which I only expected to do for like a week. and I only had the budget for a week, and I kind of kept going for a half year. So I needed to reorganize myself, but Yoko's News survived, so it's okay. So what's gonna happen? So Yoko's News' core mission is to provide emergency information, but also Yoko's News is committed to provide a emergency training information. I don't know if you're a viewer of pre-March 11th. As I mentioned, I wanted to start a project to learn about Kobe Hanshin earthquake in 1995. I posted an article like January 18th of this year, 2 months before the earthquake, because I knew the earthquake like March 11th would happen 2 months before, but I didn't expect to be this quick. So it's such an irony that only but it's happened anyway. Only a couple days of the disaster, couple weeks of the disaster, people pay attention to the disaster, but people start forgetting about the disaster. But I didn't forget about the disaster, so I kept paying my attention all the time to the earthquake, a natural disaster, typhoon disaster. So that's why I was able to respond quickly to this March 11th earthquake and tsunami. Some of you think that I kind of came out of nowhere. No, I've been practicing, training, and carefully planning to how to be able to minimize the damage of the earthquake, tsunami. Well, nuclear crisis came out of nowhere and unexpected. But luckily, when I experienced 1995 Kobe earthquake, in a huge natural disaster like that, all the time you have something unexpected stuff happening, and it will overwhelm you. So because I learned that from 1995 Hanshin Kobe earthquake, that something overwhelming would happen to you in case of the natural disaster. So even though it was really hard, mentally it was a really heartbreaking moment, but I knew that I needed to provide the right information at the right time. So because I knew I had the experience of the Kobe Hanshin earthquake and 9/11 terrorism incident, I was getting ready for something unexpected incident, which was the nuclear power plant, which was half-year-long disaster update. Which sometimes was hard, but how many times I thought I want to quit Yoko's News, but some people ask me to keep doing it, so I guess I will keep doing it as long as people ask me to keep doing it. But every time in a natural disaster, we learn something new. This time, I knew that I kept saying that in case of the natural disaster, I needed to provide the English information to the foreign community, and then I kind of proved it. But I needed to go to the better direction. So I like to bring this to the better direction, which means I really want to work on hiring or more people or asking more volunteer to join on Yokosu News. Currently, Yokosu News has 12 volunteer working for Yokosu News, but I'd like to have more volunteer working with us, which right now I kind of need the volunteer who live in Japan already in Tokai area first and move on to the Tokyo area, blah blah blah. Then because we need to choreograph really well, and also I need someone who understands Japanese culture and Western culture, English culture. So English like language culture. So so it's not that easy yet, but I'm working on it. For example, I'm gonna meet someone like someday, and I'm gonna be speaking like university and stuff. But anyway, so what I'm gonna do for a disaster update and in the future. So if anything like magnitude 5.0 or more earthquake happen, I will tweet and let you know as soon as possible if I notice, if I'm at my office. Then if some typhoon is coming, may land in the main island area, and I will make sure to tweet. And so make sure you be checking Yokosu News. But I might be start doing the newsletter maybe. So then every month I will continue this format of the 311 disaster update, so that because North Japan, which I'm going to mention in the last weekly disaster update, in North Japan, people still needs help. People especially needs the mental help. In case of the huge disaster, according to the Chernobyl's incident, after what the most worrying fact during the Chernobyl incident are the mental sickness, depression. Depression was the most scaring disease in the Chernobyl, not from the thyroid cancer from the kids, according to some of the research paper, according to the Japanese senator politician who works for the and then second also the symptom after this kind of disaster happens is the cult religion, popularity of the cult religion. So we need to make sure that we need to show that we care about people of North Japan. And because why do we need to care and take care of the people, support and people of North Japan? Because people are not people cannot survive alone under this society. People need to people make something, and then there's a chain of the reaction. So if people of North Japan couldn't recover, it will affect the rest of the Japan, and it will affect the rest of the world. You already saw at the beginning of the April because of the parts manufacture of North Japan were damaged, and the global automobile production had to stop or reduce the number of the production, the global production of the automobile because of the North Japan. And then, if this kind of the huge disaster happen, people need to recover for the world. So that's why we need to keep supporting people of North Japan. So that's why I will, but because of the financial reason and time reason and also system reason, because I told you in the earlier that Yokoso News disaster update system was kind of little bit immature, so I need to maturize my emergency broadcast system. So anyway, I need to, even though I know there is important news every week coming out, but I just don't have time. I need to prioritize myself. In the life, you need to prioritize, whether I'm going to continue the regular content to keep my sponsor, or I will continue to do a disaster update and forget about the big potential sponsor. I had to make a choice 6 months ago. And then I made a choice, and I have no regret of the choice that I made 6 months ago. But after six months, I cannot keep the same decision. I need to change a course a little bit to be able to have Yokoso News running. So I need to cut back from weekly disaster update to monthly disaster update. Then I will have to go back to regular broadcast. And also because, we need to have fun. We need to show some fun stuff to the North Japan as well. So that is the reason why I'm going to do this live cast. I'm going to push back the pace of the live cast. So monthly 3/11 disaster update, I'm planning to do it until the March 11th of the next year for monthly. Of course, something could change, but that's my plan. And Yokoso News is committed to provide the disaster information to the rest of the world. So I will keep you guys posted of what's going on. But unfortunately, I had to push back the pacing because of the no world is perfect, unfortunately. All right. So that has been the second section of today, Yokoso News. The future of the Yokoso News weekly disaster update. Current. So if anything worse, earthquake more than 5.0 happen, I will tweet, make sure. If some tsunami warning happened, I will make sure to tweet, post stuff on the Facebook. But more likely I tweet on the Twitter faster than Facebook because Twitter kind of made that way. So if you really live in but you kind of need to use the Twitter though. But anyway, so make sure you guys like Yokoso News on Facebook or Yokoso News on Twitter, because I will, if something emergency happen, I will come back live and share with you as much as and as soon as possible. All right, so now let's do a last weekly disaster update between September 6, 2011 to September 13th, 2011, Tuesday. What happened in Japan? So I am going to start with the new earthquake and tsunami update, and it will follow by nuclear power plant crisis update last. If you pay attention to the YouTube description or the description on the yokosonews.com archive page, I'm going to post the timeline, what time I go into the section, if you're watching this on the archive. So as of today, September 13th, 2011, the total deaths and missing toll from March 11th March 11th tsunami and earthquake are 19,845 people. The total death toll is 15,785. The total number of people missing is 4,060, according to Japanese Police Department on September 13th, 2011. And we cannot also forget we had the historic typhoon disaster in Wakayama, Nara, and Mie last week, two weekends ago, at the beginning of the September. Now, the total amount of the death toll, number of the death toll, has risen to 63. The number of the people missing is 33 from Typhoon Talas rainstorm disaster in Wakayama, Nara, Mie Prefecture. So even it wasn't covered much. It was the historic typhoon disaster happened in Japan. So because of that, let me do first about the disaster coverage of the typhoon. In Mie Prefecture, the south of Mie, they have opened up the volunteer center. For example, city of Kumano, Kiho Town, they all have the volunteer center open. For example, every one of the volunteer group is organized like a bus trip from Matsusaka City. The bus leaves like 5:45 a.m. and comes work. People volunteer and come back. So and then 1,000 yen bus trip to volunteer and stuff. So Wakayama Prefecture, like Singu City, and Mie Prefecture, Kihocho or Kumano City, they need volunteers. And because it happened yesterday, and I think I should mention some of the nuclear fuel processing facility in South France, Marucourt. I don't know how to pronounce in French. They had an incident, but according to the authority, they didn't have any damage, according to NHK and the other news agency. So, okay. And then 9 September 11. As I mentioned, there is also my YouTube message as well. But if you're watching this, you don't have to watch my YouTube message. But I posted on the September 11. But September 11 is the 10th year anniversary of the September 11 in 2001. I was in LA that morning. I still remember, when I went to college and people were still in shock, and then we couldn't do any school. So, yeah. Hey, Marburg, what's up? Hey, Katz. Thank you for doing this broadcast prior to everyone in Japan. Thank you very much, Marburg. And then, so half year passed. It's already half year, or it's still half year. And everywhere in Japan, they have conducted a ceremony to pray for the people who lost their lives and everything. And also, on September 7th, they had a seismic scale 5+ earthquake in south of Hokkaido at about around 10:30 p.m. on September 7th. So seismic scale a 5+ earthquake, magnitude 5.1 earthquake happened September 7th. JMA, according to JMA, Japan Meteorological Agency, people should be careful about aftershock a little bit for a while in the Hokkaido area, Hidaka region of Hokkaido. I heard Sapporo shook. It shook Sapporo a little bit as well on September 7th. So, yep. And also, according to Asahi newspaper and NHK, Japan Red Cross and Community Chest of Japan and NHK extended the period of donation to this East Japan Great Earthquake to March 31st next year. So again, people don't realize that why do we need to keep donating money even though they actually same word goes to Haiti. We actually have to still pay attention to the people in Haiti, and then we have to also pay attention to the Africa, because they are the starvation in Africa is also serious that we need to pay attention to. But at the same time, North Japan still in the bad shape. Mainly because mentally, I saw the documentary of the NHK that elderly people in North Japan who lost their house, they now live in a temporary housing. But temporary housing, they have to take care of their bill by themselves, and they lost their job, and then they lost their house. They don't know what to do. Some of them are hopeless. So we need to do something, we need to keep doing something to show them that we still care about people of North Japan, but as well as people in Haiti and Africa. But so Japan Red Cross is going to extend the donation period of the East Japan Great Earthquake from end of September to March 31st of next year, as well as Community Chest of Japan and NHK. So if you feel like you have extra cash, maybe you should donate the money to the Japan Red Cross, because Japan Red Cross is still doing their work. So that's the quick update of everything that you really wanted to know, the top headline news. And now the food safety update. According to Minister of Health, Labor and Welfare on September 6th, in Minamisoma, Fukushima, they found about 2,040 becquerel per kilogram of the cesium from the wild chestnut in Minamisoma, Fukushima, which is over the legal limit of the radiation. So, wild chestnut from Minamisoma, Fukushima went over the legal limit on September 6, 2011, according to Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare. And then, according to Ministry of Labor, and then another news on the September 6th, some of the wild mushroom like matsutake mushroom or honshimeji mushroom, chichitake mushroom, on September 6th, Japanese government banned from shipping those products. Because, as you know from my last weekly update, they found a high amount of the cesium radioactive contamination from those wild mushroom from Fukushima. And according to a European Union on September 9th, according to Yomiuri, they will continue the ban of importing the made in Japan food, and then made in Japan food product until end of the December 31st. So that has been the food safety update of a food safety update. Now move on to the weekly update of North Japan earthquake tsunami update between September 6th and September 13th. So according to Yomi, you know what? This is the news that I read last week. But anyway, according to Yomiuri, I actually read the same news. Like I think it was Sankei News or something last year. I think this can be a same news. But according to Yomiuri on September 7th, there are about 47 elementary, middle, high school, and high school in Iwate, Miyagi, Fukushima that are having a hard time to rebuild their own school building. So about 4,800 students are kind of school building less, and those schools don't have any future plan of what to do with the school building. So according to Yomiuri, as on September 6th, there are about 82 elementary school, middle school, and high school that are lending the space from other school because their school building got damaged. And 47 schools out of 87 schools have no plan and don't know what to do with their school building. Yeah, this is the same news that I read last week. So according to Yomiuri on September 7th, British Airways and the Investment Ministry of the UK or something, they are doing a giveaway sweepstake of the round-trip ticket of Japan and the UK using the Japan social network service GREE to energize the travel demand between Japan and the UK. I see. And according to Asahi newspaper on September 11th, according to Asahi newspaper on September 11th, at the Sri Lankan embassy in Tokyo, they held the memorial ceremony of the half-year anniversary of the March 11th as well. And they have some famous Sri Lankan singer and came to sing a song, and they also donated $1 million and then 3 million tea pack from Sri Lankan. And so the Sri Lankan embassy held the memorial on the September 11th. And according to Yomiuri newspaper on September 7th, Yomiuri newspaper is showing the effort of the Muslim people living in Japan who are helping the volunteering North Japan. And then according to Yomiuri, the Muslim, including Japanese Muslim and foreigner Muslim, there are about 100,000 Muslim living in Japan. There are Muslim community are also trying to help the volunteer effort in North Japan. But at the same time, the Muslim community are, it's not severely bad compared to the other country, but some Muslim people were a little bit have some kind of discrimination eyes on it, according to Yomiuri on the September 7th. Okay, next. According to Kyodo on September 7th, Ministry of Health and Labor and Welfare is going to launch Children's Support Center in Iwate, Miyagi, and Fukushima Prefecture. There are about 15,000 kids who lost their parents. So there will be desperate needs of the psychological care for those orphans. So the Japanese government is going to launch a children care center, which consists of doctor, psychologist, and some non-profit organization. And they're going to launch it in Iwate, Miyagi, Fukushima prefecture. The budget will be included in the budget will be used for the first repair bill. Budget will be used from the first repair bill. On September 7th, according to Yomiuri, because of the Typhoon Talas, because of the damage by the Typhoon Talas, Soma City, Fukushima has sent some relief aid to Totsukawa, Japan, Nara, Japan, which were damaged by Typhoon Talas 2 weeks ago at the beginning of the September. Soma Fukushima, mayor of Soma Fukushima, wanted to return the favor of Totsukawa, Japan, that they sent the relief aid in the March 24th. So on March 24th, Totsukawa, Nara, Japan sent 866 kilo of rice, water, and some other staples to the Soma Fukushima. So in return, Soma Fukushima has sent 2.5 tons of water, 60 boxes of preservation food, 2,400 cup noodle to Totsukawa, Nara, Japan, which were devastated by Typhoon Talas rainstorm at the beginning of September. On September 7th, according to JMA, Japan Meteorological Agency, they will be revising the tsunami warning in case of the large tsunami. So if they have a threat of the large tsunami, Japan Meteorological Agency will use the phrase that tsunami threat could be as worse as East Japan earthquake tsunami. So people can, so that it helps understand the people how bad tsunami could be. But this is just a plan, so JMA going to set up some committee group to discuss about how to express the forecast and then degree of the warning, and then so. According to Asahi newspaper and also NHK, 10 minutes after the earthquake, one of the Japan Meteorological Agency Observatory Center in Nagano already calculated that the magnitude of the March 11 earthquake was 9. However, Japan Meteorological Agency itself didn't use the calculation result of the Nagano Observatory Center, so this could result in the latency of the warning issued to the North Japan. So, first of all, early report from the JMA said earthquake was only magnitude 7.9. So the height of tsunami was only 6 meters high. However, because it was magnitude 9 earthquake, tsunami was actually 10 meters high, which resulted in many casualties. Although the first official report was 7.9, the one observatory center in Nagano already found out that it was magnitude 9. But some internal communication problem, they couldn't take advantage of it. So this observatory center in Nagano, what they do is they connect to the observatory spots of all over the world and obtain the information through the internet and calculate the result immediately. So so this center, if the Asahi newspaper and NHK said that we should take this method, we should take this observatory center's way to collect the data from all over the world through the internet and calculate and finalize the degree of the big earthquake and take this into the consideration already, because it's already accurate. This experimental method they think it's already matured. According to Yomiuri on September 8th, and also NHK as well, about 62% of the mayors of the local government in North Japan said that they have no bright future plan how to reconstruct life of the residents. So this situation is unchanged compared to the 2 months ago. So although some reconstruction efforts are still in take place, but the rebuilding people's life in terms of people being able to find the job that they lost, people being able to rebuild their house that they lost, 62% of the mayor from the local governments in North Japan said no, they have no improvement. And then, according to Yomiuri on September 9th, from Minami Soma, Fukushima, about 55% of the farmers are planning to giving up farming. So, and about even 20% of the farmers who had no damage from tsunami are thinking about giving up the farming because of the radiation damage. According to Yomiuri on September 9th, a couple victims of North Japan tsunami and earthquake were going to attend September 11th memorial, and they're going to send 100 lantern. Miho Goto, the artist living in New York, contacted a Hiroyuki Sakai-san, who was the organizer of Lantern Festival on August 17th in Natori, Miyagi Prefecture. So, Japanese artist in New York, Miho Goto, saw the news that Hiroyuki Sakurai-san from Natori, Miyagi, made help organize Thousand Lantern Festival in Natori, Miyagi, and they asked Miho-san asked Sakurai-san to bring the 100 lantern to the September 11th ceremony. According to NHK, those lantern has been placed on the Hudson River on the September 11th in New York. According to NHK, on September 11th, in Kesennuma, Miyagi, although it already has been half year since the earthquake, about 500 people are still spending their time in the evacuation center because Kesennuma, Miyagi is still lacking the number of the temporary housing. So people are still having stressful time in the evacuation center in Kesennuma, Miyagi. All right, next. Next is the series of the report of the September 11th. This is from NHK, Rikuzen Takada Iwate. Many people went to the hill of Rikuzen Takada and then had a moment of silence, according to NHK, and this is according to Yomiuri. In Minami Soma, Soma, Fukushima. There is a Minami Soma and Soma, two prefectures, and Soma, Fukushima. On September 10th, they had a memorial ceremony. And everywhere in September 11th, they had a ceremony in Japan because not only it was 10th anniversary, but it was also half-year anniversary. And then, as on September 10th, according to Yomiuri, people who live in the temporary housing are still keep moving to another temporary housing one after another, because some of the temporary housing, when people move in, they have nobody they know, because they didn't consider about the community. So according to Yomiuri, some people wanted to move to other temporary housing district where their friend lives. So placement of the temporary housing is very important to rebuild the community. So, especially North Japan has a close bond with the neighbors and everything because it's countryside. According to Yomiuri, on September 11th, there are about still 80,000 people evacuated, and over 1,000 bodies who were not identified. Many of the because of the one of the primary reason why they cannot identify these 1,000 bodies is because they cannot sample their DNA, because most of their belonging has been swept away by tsunami. As on from March 12th to August 21st, about 153,173 people applied for the unemployment benefit. This is the double amount of number compared to the previous year. So those 100% increase are more likely. It's because of this earthquake disaster. But by the October, they are planning to finish constructing about 52,400 temporary housing. And then evacuation center was once 18,000 locations, but there are now only 126 evacuation centers open in North Japan right now. So half a year passed since the disaster. Some are getting progress, some are not. According to Yomiuri on September 6, and JMA, Japan Meteorological Agency, said that they will install more earthquake meter that can record the bigger amount of the earthquake. According to JMA, the current system, they cannot measure the earthquake more than 8.0. Because the JMA's earthquake sensor were only able to measure the magnitude up to magnitude 8.0. The first report only came out as 7.9. So JMA said that they are going to install more better earthquake sensor so that they can come out the more accurate report in case of the large disaster. According to Yomiuri, on September 11th, on September 10th, police department said about 4.8% of the cause of the 4.8% of the dead body were found in a car. So 5% of the deaths are when they were driving or when they were in a car. According to Yomiuri on September 12th, and then also NHK and many other news agencies, in Iwate prefecture they held the governor's election, and the current governor has been re-elected to become a governor of Iwate. He belonged to DPJ. Tasso governor has been re-elected. He belonged to DPJ. And LDP candidate Hiroyuki Takahashi and other candidate has lost the governor's election. On the other hand, the prefectural council election, DPJ could not dominate the seat. So on the September 11th, Prime Minister Noda held the briefing, and he said, now it's time to execute. And according to NHK, V ってなんや? What is V? Buoy, B-U-O-Y, buoy, the floating stuff that's used for the fishing. They found about 700 buoy were floating off the shore of Ibaraki that were traveling from Ishinomaki, and then fishermen from in Ibaraki found those buoy and they saw the name tag, and they found out those buoy travel about 300 kilo and arrive in Ibaraki from Miyagi. So they help collect those 700 buoy and then brought them back to the Ishinomaki, Miyagi on September 9th. Those buoy are used to grow the oyster, and the fisherman in Ishinomaki, Miyagi said they are planning to start growing these oyster at the end of the October using these return buoy. According to NHK on September 9th, high school graduate is experiencing really bad employment status. Only 0.68 out of 1 person, only 68% of the high school graduate are able to get the job in Tohoku area. So high school graduate in Tohoku are having hard time. According to NHK, this is the similar news from Yomiuri I said earlier, that 1,106 bodies has not been identified yet. They're having hard time because they cannot do the DNA. They need the original DNA sample, but because tsunami swept away everything, so they don't have original DNA that they can based on. They cannot match, so. And according to NHK on September 10th, according to police department, about 90% of the cause of death are drowning, and more than 50% are 65-year-old and older. And also, we cannot also forget about the earthquake in Sakae Village, Nagano. In addition to March 11th earthquake, there are 2 other major earthquakes happen in Japan. One in Sakae, Nagano, and other is in Shizuoka. They had recorded about 6+ earthquake. NHK have the complete coverage of the Sakai Village, Nagano. That about 600, for example, in Sakai Village, Nagano, because of the March 12th earthquake in Nagano, 688 buildings out of 810 buildings in Sakai, Nagano has been damaged, which is 85% of the village building has been damaged. And 202 buildings were half damaged or complete damaged. And then 112 people are spending time in temporary housing. So this Sakai village, more than half of its population is 65 years old and older. So they don't have any financial strength to rebuild their houses. So it is the very concern in Sakai, Nagano, from the disaster, another hidden disaster of Japan. According to a Earthquake Investigation Committee of Japanese government on September 9th, according to Sankei newspaper, Atera Fault, located at the east of Gifu Prefecture, near Nagano Prefecture. Because of the March 11th earthquake, the percentage of the potential earthquake has increased, and then may increase. Previously, the possibility of the earthquake from Atera Fault in between Gifu and Nagano are only 11%. 11% chance of maybe having magnitude 6.9 class earthquake. But because of this March 11 earthquake, they might have more chance to have the earthquake. So many faults located in Japan has been affected by the March 11th earthquake, and they have enhanced the potential risk of the earthquake in Japan. According to Kyoto, no, that's it. All right, so that has that's it. Okay, sorry. So that has been the earthquake update of earthquake and tsunami update. So now let's move on to Fukushima nuclear crisis update of 2011. Well, actually, we don't have much of the update on the Fukushima nuclear power plant update this week. On September 7, 2011, Japanese Fukushima Police Department started to do more in-depth investigation to try to find the missing bodies around Fukushima nuclear power plant. Fukushima Police Department, Fire Department, about 220 people of the team tried to find missing bodies on September 7th and September 8th as according to Yomiuri on September 7th. According to NHK on September 10th, Japanese government is asking or is trying to set up how to clean up the contaminated soil, contaminated land situation of the Fukushima area. Japanese government prepare about 220 billion yen of the budget from their second repair bill, and then what they're planning is they're gonna try to take off the surface of the soil and bring it to somewhere else and try to reduce the amount of the radioactive contamination of the soil. But they pick up some samples. They're gonna lay down some guideline of how much deep soil they need to dig, those kind of stuff. So they are going to start doing so. According to Japanese government on September 9th, they are thinking about the where to store those contaminated soil. Where to preserve those contaminated soil. According to Japanese government on September 9th, they are thinking about storing those contaminated soil in the Japanese government-owned forest. That's the one of the plan. They will start talking to the local government, and they will take a So where to store this contaminated soil, even though they were able to remove, that's also another concern as well. So NHK is providing the comprehensive summary of what's going on, the status of the nuclear power plants, contaminated water. So as you know, there are so many radioactive contaminated water exist on Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. So, but from the end of the June, TEPCO built the water filtering system with using the American or French devices. But they keep having the problem. But although their water filtering system keeps having some problem, they seems to start working well. And they also spent fuel pools from first to fourth nuclear reactor has been kind of stabilized, and then about 40 degree of most highest temperature of the spent fuel pool is at the fourth nuclear reactor's spent fuel pool, and it's only 40 Celsius degree. So the spent fuel pool, it looks like it's also being kind of stabilized. So everything about the contaminated water filtering system may be getting stabilized, but now how much can they keep it up? Because looks like they might need to keep doing this for long term. How about nuclear reactor 124? According to NHK on September 10th, according to the analysis of NISA, first nuclear reactor had meltdown occurred at about 8 p.m. on March 11th. And on March 12th, by 3:30 p.m., they had a hydrogen blast. The fuel rod has been dropped to the bottom of the nuclear reactor, and some of the parts of the fuel rod has been leaked onto the reactor containment. And currently, they are pouring about 4 tons per hour of the water onto the reactor, and they are continuing to cooling down the water at the first nuclear water. From the beginning, from the middle of the August 2011, the water temperature of the first reactor has been going under 100 degrees. So first nuclear reactor, they have been pouring the nitrogen to prevent from the hydrogen blast, another hydrogen blast, and they are also constructing the cover to cover up the hole on the first nuclear reactor. So the next goal of the first nuclear reactor is how to minimize the trouble and keep the temperature under 100 degrees. So that's the goal of the first nuclear reactor. Second nuclear reactor of Fukushima Daiichi. According to NISA analysis, second nuclear reactor might experience the meltdown on March 14th. And by the 6 a.m. of March 15th, the blast happened at the suppression room. And a large amount of the radiation has been leaked outside of the second reactor. And part of the fuel rod might be leaked into the reactor container. And right now, about 4 tons per hour of the water has been poured onto the second nuclear reactor. And then it tried to keep cooling down. As of the current status, the most of the temperature sensor reading is below 100 Celsius degree. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Most of the temperature reading has not been gone under 100 degree. So this is the most hottest reactor of the among 3 reactors of the Fukushima Daiichi. So their goal is to make sure to cool down their goal is to enhance the cooling process of the nuclear reactor of number 2. Number 3 reactor of Fukushima Daiichi. According to NISA, meltdown occurred on March 14th at about 10 p.m. and fuel rod reached at the bottom of the nuclear reactor. And 11 o'clock on the March 15th, then they had a hydrogen blast. And they think that part of the fuel has been leaked into the reactor container. Right now, they are pouring about 8 tons per hour of the water into the reactor to cool it down. And then from the September 1st, they are directly pouring the water onto the reactor. Then, soon after they started doing that since September 1st, the temperature at the bottom of the nuclear reactor has gone down to below 100 Celsius degree. So it's kind of getting some outcomes. TEPCO said that they will be monitoring the temperature and they will make a decision. They will make a decision of how much water they need to keep pouring onto the nuclear reactor. The status of the fourth nuclear reactor of the Fukushima Daiichi. Fourth nuclear reactor was not active. However, they had large amount of the spent fuel rod into the spent fuel pool. About 1,535 of the fuel rods were into the spent fuel pool of the fourth nuclear reactor. Because of the earthquake, the cooling system of the spent fuel pool were lost, and then the explosion happened on the March 15th. And then also the pole that supports the spent fuel pool also damaged. So they were being using the concrete pump truck to pour the water in to keep pulling the spent fuel pools, fuel rod. However, at the end of July, they have restored the internal cooling system of the fourth spent fuel pool. And so then temperature has been stabilized, now about 40 Celsius degree. And then they also start doing the construction to enhance the durability of against the earthquake. So that's the status of the first to fourth nuclear reactor as of September 10th. As on September 11th, actually I could get today's reading. According to today, September 13th at 2 p.m. surrounded reading of the radiation in Fukushima City. In Fukushima City, Fukushima, at September 13th, 2 p.m. Fukushima City, Fukushima, 1.17 microsievert power. Sendai, Miyagi, 0.061 microsievert power. Yamagata, 0.042 microsievert power. Mito, Ibaraki, 0.083 microsievert power. Ichihara, Chiba, 0.042 microsievert power. Utsunomiya, Tochigi, 0.055 microsievert power. Saitama, 0.050 microsievert power. Shinjuku, Tokyo, 0.056 microsievert power. Kanagawa, in Chigasaki, Kanagawa, 0.048 microsievert power. So these are the readings of as on September 13th, 2011, according to MEXT. Ministry of Education, Technology and Science. On September 8th, 2011, according to NHK, Nobel Prize winner Kenzaburo Oe and other journalists and other people held the seminar, including some movie director Yoji Yamada and somebody else, and held the seminar. Then Kenzaburo Oe, the Nobel Prize winner about the literature, asked the people to finish depending on the nuclear energy. According to Yomiuri on September 9th, Teijin, the material company, invented some plastic that could generate the light when the radiation hits. Okay. Also, I should have introduced earlier. According to Kyoto, Uniqlo is going to donate 80,000 heat-tech, the inner clothing for the people of North Japan as winter close by. They're going to Uniqlo, the first retailing company, is going to donate 80,000 clothing, including heat tech and down jacket, to the North Japan. According to Asahi newspaper on September 13th, according to Asahi newspaper, they investigated the internal documents of the Japanese government, and then NISA thinks that if they failed the ventilation process that they did on March 12th, the situation, NISA recognized the situation could go worse. So, according to Asahi newspaper, Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare is going to try to set up the guideline to determine whether the typical worker has been been the health, if they can, they're trying to set up the guideline for the workers' compensation in case from the radiation exposure. So, current guideline, according to the current workers' comp guideline, they have really simple kind of guideline for the workers' comp to the people who were exposed to the radiation. So the Ministry of the Health, Labor and Welfare is going to make sure the relationship of the radiation exposure and the sickness, and then they're gonna set up more detailed guideline of the workers' comp. by the end of the August, according to Asahi newspaper, there are about 18,000 TEPCO workers and TEPCO contracting workers worked on the Fukushima nuclear power plant, and about 3,000 workers has been exposed to more than 10 millisievert of the radiation. Once they have been approved for the workers' comp, they will be treated for free, and they will be paid for they will be get compensation for the certain amount. So about 18,000 people has worked at the Fukushima nuclear power plant for this half year. According to Asahi newspaper on September 10th, Japanese government and the Fukushima prefecture government did some research, and at the part of the Fukushima city, they have recorded more than 3 microsievert per hour of the location, which will exceed the government guideline of more than 20 millisievert per year of the radiation. So we start finding out more detailed hotspots stuff as well in the Fukushima area. On September 7th, 2011, TEPCO said that their water filtering system made with American and French nuclear industry company, their water filtering system now functioning and reached about 19.6% of the filtering production capability. So finally, they reached the goal. Their goal was to reach 90% of the level. So if they were able to continue the 90% production level of the water filtering, they should be able to reduce the amount of the contaminated water at the turbine building. So Toshiba's water filtering system also working really well, and they were able to process 90% of magnitude 5.2 maybe earthquake happening in the East Coast. It's downgraded to 4.9. Okay, so never mind. I mean, our earthquake is happening on the west coast of Miyagi Prefecture right now, but it's magnitude 4.9. So, and then seismic scale 1 to 2. So it's mild earthquake, small earthquake, and then 90%. So they are doing they are trying their water filtering system of the nuclear power plant is also doing okay, according to Yomiuri on September 7th. And then according to Kyoto, according to Kyoto, hurry up, I'm waiting. Okay, according to Kyoto, on September 12th, TEPCO start accepting the application from the evacuees of Fukushima to pay the damage payment. I explained the detail of a calculation, for example, 5,000 yen per yen for the staying overnight, like spending time in the evacuation center, 8,000 yen per day for the transportation fee, blah blah blah. But so the people of Fukushima who had to evacuate to other area and who has been damaged, residents are now able to apply for the damage pay, and then according to TEPCO, they hope to be able to pay back to those residents by the mid of October. According to Kyodo and NHK and Yomiuri on September 13th, Kawauchi Village, Fukushima, which is located like about 20 kilometers west of Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, which is the part of the evacuation zone and evacuation advisory zone, said that they are hoping to move back to the area by February, start to be able to go back to living there by February next year. So, Mayor of Kawauchi Village, Endo-san, held the press conference. They will make an announcement in December if they could go back, and they hope to start sending the residents back to Kawauchi Village in February, and they want to complete moving the residents back by the end of March. And according to Yomiuri, which I also said in the last update, Prime Minister Noda, new Prime Minister Noda-san, has visited Fukushima and Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant on September 8th. In addition, he actually visited Wakayama, Mie, and Nara on September 7th and 9th to cheer them up. NHK was showing the footage that Prime Minister Noda paid the great gratitude to the self-defense personnel as well. According to Iwate Prefecture, 2 of their cow has found more than 500 becquerel of the cesium. One of the cow had 583 becquerel per kilogram of the cesium, and one other cow has found 532 becquerel of the cesium. These 2 cows will not be on the market. They were found before they were on the market. According to Iwate Prefecture, all the cow has been shipped on the market are now being tested. So no cow on the market are supposed to be less than 100 becquerel per kilogram of the radiation contamination, which is supposed to be safe. And then, according to Fujimura, new Secretary General of Japan, they are thinking about to launch a new fund. It's called Fukushima Reconstruction Fund. In the kind of quick English translation, in Japanese official name is Fukushima Fukko Kikin. So this will be included in the third repair bill budget. They don't know how much they're gonna put into this fund. This fund will be used to for the reconstruction effort of the Fukushima. For example, clearing the soil, contaminated soil, and then taking care of the incident. So as I kind of don't want to make it quick. So as you know, new Prime Minister Noda-san has been elected. So new cabinet has been appointed, including almost all minister has been chosen. New minister has been chosen. However, new Minister of METI, Ministry of Economy, Industry and Technology, Hachiro-san, he said that Fukushima became dead town, which caused the sensational scandal. It was, his word didn't kind of represent the Fukushima is ghost town that nobody would go back. So it made Fukushima people angry, and then Hachiro, Minister of METI, resigned within a week that he has been appointed to be Minister of METI. So yesterday, new Minister of METI has been appointed, who is Mr. Edano-san, the former Secretary General that everybody knows, including from here. So, yeah. Okay, should I mention that 17-year-old boy was working at the Fukushima Dai-2 nuclear power plant. There's Dai-1, number 1 nuclear power plant, and Fukushima Dai-2, number 2 nuclear power plant. And in about 93 to 94, one 17-year-old guy were working at the Fukushima nuclear power plant. And according to labor law, within the radiation zone, no one under 18 years old or younger were allowed to work. But they found out that 17-year-old guy were working in the radiation zone in the Fukushima Dai-2 from 93 to 94. But it's already like 17 years ago. So it already ran out the statute of the limitations, so they won't be prosecuted. Okay. And then according to TEPCO on September 9th, TEPCO said there is less chance that third nuclear reactor is going to reach the meltdown point again. Because of the third nuclear reactor on March 21st, the pressure level of the third nuclear reactor on March 21st has risen a little bit. So some reporter pointed out expert pointed out that certain nuclear reactor might reach the went to the meltdown state again. But typical, I think it didn't reach that point yet, according to September 9th. According to TEPCO, on September 10th, they are started to getting ready to clean up the debris on the third and fourth nuclear reactor building. Yeah. So as you know, the third nuclear reactor and the fourth nuclear reactor building, they had an explosion. So debris is everywhere. Then they needed to clean up. But those debris might be radioactive contaminated, highly radioactive contaminated. But the TEPCO start getting ready to remove those debris. Unfortunate news again from Yomiuri on September 11. According to police department, from March 11th to end of the August, there were about 722 robbery happen within